Kevin Hart is so tiny. How tiny was he? He's so tiny that if he were around during the slavery days, they wouldn't use a whip to tear through his black back. They'd use dental floss.
Like, what is it that you expect me? You want me to take a live production and stand up and fight Tony or have a reaction? Like
on the Breakfast Club, and he was talking about how, what was I supposed to do? Jump up and, you know, Tom Brady did that, right? Tom Brady did that.
I love Robert Kraft. I love.
So the backlash over those racist jokes at Kevin Hart's Netflix roast is still blowing up online. And now even more black comedians are publicly dragging Kevin. In case you've been out of the loop, the controversy was mainly focused on jokes from two comedians, Tony Hinchcliffe and Shane Gillis. The biggest backlash was over Hinchcliffe's George Floyd joke. But what got people really angry was how hard Kevin laughed at this joke. And as you watch, keep in mind that Kevin was literally among the celebrities who attended George Floyd's memorial back in 2020.
You've done good though, Kevin. The black community is so proud of you. Right now, George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard that he can't breathe. God bless you, Kevin.
As you can imagine, the ones most hurt by this joke and Kevin's heartless reaction were George Floyd's actual family. His brother, Terrence Floyd, and his uncle, Selwyn Jones, both came out publicly saying the family was shocked to see Kevin laughing at these jokes. Terrence pointed out that Kevin's presence at George's memorial showed he understood their pain, so they felt betrayed seeing him laugh at that joke. And then Terrence also said he blames Netflix and the producers for not cutting the joke when they had the chance. But here's the thing, that wasn't the only joke aimed at black trauma that Kevin thought was hilarious. Shane Gillis had a few lines that referenced some seriously painful parts of black history. One joke said Kevin's ancestors arrived in America in a slave ship in a bottle, and he also made a lynching joke. And once again, just watch how hard Kevin laughs. He even stood up to shake Shane's hand.
To really understand Kevin's origins, you have to go back to the beginning. Kevin's ancestors came to America in a slave ship in a bottle. Kevin actually did really well in Saudi Arabia, but only because they thought he was the monkey from Aladdin. Kevin's so short that they're gonna have to lynch him from a bonsai tree.
But just when you thought it couldn't get worse, Kevin goes on the Breakfast Club to defend Tony Hinchcliffe. And then he tells fans they need to move on because nothing is off limits in comedy.
that's what they do. It happens every year when they do a roast. It's not new. This isn't a new. It's not a new agenda. It's not a new approach to comedy.
Do you feel like Tony Hinchcliffe went too far when he made that joke about George Floyd?
It's Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
I don't expect less. I don't expect more.
I feel like you're saying going too far is the point. I don't know if it words in your
Yes,
mouth,
I mean, that's why you're there.
So after that interview, the backlash against Kevin ramped up even more, and several comedians had strong reactions. D.L. Hughley called him out, specifically over Kevin saying he didn't understand what people expected from him, and that he couldn't just jump up and drag Tony off the stage.
Like, what is it that you expect me? You want me to take a live production and stand up and fight Tony or have a reaction? If you are upset that the night went on, that's a different conversation. It's nothing I can do. It's a production. It's a live production. I'm not compromising.
But DL's point was simple. Kevin could have done something. He knew the joke would happen in advance, and he agreed to let it happen. And then on Kevin's excuse about not being able to physically stop Tony, DL pointed out that when Tom Brady did his roast, he literally interrupted Jeff Ross mid-joke to stop a joke about Patriots owner Robert Kraft.
You cut a bunch of jokes that you thought would be offensive. You cut 18, he could have been the 19th one, that you knew what would happen. And the other thing is when he was on the Breakfast Club and he was talking about how, what was I supposed to do? Jump up and, you know, Tom Brady did that, right? Tom Brady did that.
I love Robert Kraft. I love. Okay.
He didn't like the joke.
By the way, Jeff Ross later tried to downplay that whole situation, saying Tom Brady was just having fun. But then Andrew Schultz revealed that Netflix had explicitly told the roasters not to joke about Robert Kraft's 2019 arrest for soliciting ex-workers. So clearly there are rules, and there are things that are off limits, which means Kevin's whole "there are no rules in comedy" narrative is total BS. And he knows it. He knows exactly who signs his checks, and he knows whose trauma is off limits. But But black pain and trauma? Yeah, that's apparently fair game. But if one of those edgy comedians tried to make a joke about, oh, I don't know, maybe something that happened during World War II, you think Kevin would laugh? You think Netflix would air it? We'd be hearing about it for the rest of the year. There would be never-ending apologies from everyone involved, educational programs, statements from politicians. It would be a whole production. But slavery? Oh, that's just edgy humor. And you're too woke if you're offended. And honestly, that's what gets me the most. Because the gaslighting is just unreal. They tell you it's just comedy and nothing is off limits, when we all know damn well there are things that are always off limits. And by the way, this reminded me of something Denzel Washington said in an old interview that applies to this situation. Listen carefully.
I got a part in a movie in 1986. I called it the They Couldn't Kill. Oh. Yeah, he was supposed to be, he raped a white woman and they tried to electrocute him, but it didn't work. And he became sort of a cult hero. And then they tried to hang him and they tried to do all this stuff. And I had a lot of training day in me. And there were some Jewish people in the audition, and I said, yeah. They said, no, it's funny. It's like they hang them and then they can't. I said, yeah, like you bring some Jewish people into a room and they think it's a shower, but it's gas. Oh. And they said, right. I said, right. That ain't funny. Mm. So to me, it wasn't funny about putting a rope around my MFing neck either. I made a point. The guy was like, who the hell is this little nigga talking like this?
And it's crazy how nothing's really changed since then. Black historical trauma is still fair game for jokes, but if you try the same thing with someone else's trauma, you'll probably never work in Hollywood again. Now back to Kevin Hart. For him to have the audacity to act all arrogant on The Breakfast Club and tell people, what did you want me to do, drag him off stage? Like, how hypocritical can you be? Okay, so maybe he couldn't literally drag Hinchcliffe off the stage, but he could have said something. Or at the very least, he could have kept a poker face like Regina Hall. She didn't laugh at any of those jokes. Meanwhile, Kevin, like the good, obedient industry plant he is, laughed harder than anyone else. And then, instead of acknowledging how messed up that was, or at least just taking his check and staying quiet, he doubles down and claims Tony Hinchcliffe had one of the best sets of the night.
I hate to say this, but I'm going to because we're being honest. People are talking about that joke. Talk about his set. Tony Hinchcliffe arguably had the best set.
Now, about that industry plant talk, that didn't come out of nowhere. This is something Katt Williams has been trying to tell people for years, but they called him bitter and jealous. To give you some context, the first time Katt suggested Kevin might have done some shady stuff for fame was back in the early 2000s. This was around the time Dave Chappelle got people talking about how black male entertainers are often pushed into wearing dresses, like some weird initiation ritual before they can level up in Hollywood. So when someone asked Kevin about Dave's comments, Kevin just brushed it off with a laugh, saying that it never happened to him. And while he didn't outright say he'd never wear a dress for a role, he insisted he'd never do anything that hurt his brand.
I definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you know, you have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross.
But then, less than a year later, Kevin pops up in an SNL sketch wearing a dress. And right after that, he blows up. Blockbuster roles, stadium headlining tours, multi-million-dollar endorsement deals. Now, you can write this off as a total coincidence. Maybe the dress thing is just another wild conspiracy. But Katt Williams, he sees it very differently. When they asked Katt about Kevin's SNL dress moment, his response was basically, this is bigger than just Kevin. We're talking about a whole system at work, and Kevin just happened to be the one taking his turn in it.
Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress wearing. Now I'm saying, why are we picking on poor little Kevin Hart? Because it was his turn next.
So after that whole dress situation played out, Kevin's career just kept going up and up. Katt, though, he kept running into legal trouble, and the tabloids had a field day with it, constantly trying to frame him as some crazy, out-of-control addict. But Katt didn't let them break him, and he kept exposing the industry plants. In 2018, Katt decided to expose Kevin again, but this time, he aimed some shade at Tiffany Haddish. His argument was that there were plenty plenty of black female comedians with way more talent who never got a real shot. And according to Katt, Tiffany only blew up because she's catering to white audiences. Now, those comments really got under Kevin's skin. So he and Tiffany went on The Breakfast Club together, and Kevin claimed Katt is just bitter that he lost out on job opportunities because of his alleged substance problems. And then Kevin also falsely claimed that Katt never used his platform to help other comedians.
My frustration with Katt Williams comes from, you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man, this, and this. When do you take responsibility for your action? You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose you. Katt Williams, have you ever used your platform to bring the people that were under you up?
But Katt wasn't about to just let that addict talk slide. See, Katt's always been very clear that when it comes to substances, is where he draws the line. So after Kevin aired him out on The Breakfast Club, Katt needed to set the record straight.
So while he wasn't there and off making 85 million, I was over here not making 85 million. But it's all good. I don't mind $1 million a month and keeping my soul. As long as Richard Pryor was able to get a comedy and a crackhead, they gonna continue to say maybe I am. But again, I urge you, if there's a drug you can do that'll get you Katt Williams level, bitch, you should OD on it tonight.
But that wasn't the end of it. Fast forward to 2025, and Katt goes in on Kevin even harder, calling him a textbook definition of an industry plant, and comparing him to, call it Illuminati or some other word. At the end of the day, there's a club running this industry, and you either play by their rules, or you'll never reach that top tier of success. And Kevin, yeah, he's clearly in the club.
It's a cabal. It's a consortium. They rock with who they rock with, and they don't.
Katt also claimed that multiple roles were taken from him and given to Kevin just because he asked to have some scenes removed. Specifically, scenes where he was supposed to be intimate with another. Kevin and Katt have supposedly buried the hatchet. Katt even showed up to participate in the roast. But here's the thing, it honestly still felt tense between them. And if you actually tuned into what Katt was saying up there, it didn't really come off like he was going for punchlines. It felt way more like he just wanted to look Kevin in the eye and tell him the truth.
Kevin and I have beef. And I'll tell you why. Because privately, this motherfucker stole everything from me. They tried to cancel Kevin for the Diddy parties. They hurled allegations at him. But thanks to all the baby oil, the charges didn't stick. Kevin was at a bunch of Diddy parties, but in his defense, it was only because Diddy thought he was 10. But I want to be clear. Just because Kevin went to Diddy parties does not mean he did something wrong. The fact that he gets all quiet when you bring it up, that means he did something wrong.
But you know what this all comes down to? Character, integrity. You don't need to believe in any grand conspiracy to see what kind of person Kevin is. Kevin's net worth is estimated at $400 million, and yet he's still out here promoting gambling for money. So at this point, is it even realistic to expect Kevin Hart to take a stand? To have any real principles? Maybe the bigger question is, why do so many people still worship these celebrities and drop their money on tickets? But hey, let me know what you think about all this in the comments below, and stay tuned for the next video.